Hey, Bayek, it's me, Ian. And in today's video, I'm going to look at this. Yes, it is The Vampire Lovers from 1970. And it's a Hammer classic film, a very important film, because it's the film that marks a new era for Hammer. They've gone into production with American International, and there's been changes at the top of Hammer, and there's a recognition now that Hammer have to move with the times. And this means only one thing. It means they've got to increase violence and gore and sexual content. That's it. It's as simple as that. This is what the audiences are demanding. But can they do this without just becoming another exploitation production company? And the answer to that is actually they do succeed. Yes, they do actually succeed. And here we are. I'm going to talk about it. Right. So if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, 76%, which isn't bad. But I think more at the time there was a certain cynicism about this. And the critics at the time mixed reviews. Hey, back. We hear that phrase a lot. Now, it runs for 91 minutes, right? So it's typical sort of length of that time. It's directed by Roy Ward Baker. Yes. Now, what films has he done? Well, he's done a hell of a lot. Massive amount of films. Ones that might stand out for me are, of course, Quatermass and the Pit from 1967. Scars of Dracula, 1970, which, though, I think when I reviewed the previous Dracula film, I sort of said that Scars of Dracula was perhaps not quite as good, but there are a lot of good things in it. But it's still a significant film in the Dracula sort of canons of films. I mean, they're all good. They're all good. But Taste the Blood of Dracula is just an amazing film, as I said before. Anyhow, so he directed that. Also, he directed Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, and that's another amazing film. Very different, again, and a great take. My favourite Amicus anthology film, Asylum, he directed that. And also, what I think is one of the great, really true great Hammer films, the last one, The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. And what an amazing film that is, which I keep hearing is going to get another release with a lot more extras. I mean, that is such a great film. It's how Hammer could have gone. The direction was absolutely fantastic. It's the last one to feature Peter Cushing as well in a Hammer film. So, a great film. Anyway, I'm going off again. Hey, Mike, I'm going off. That gives you an idea about the director. And the director plays such an important part in this film, definitely. Now, it's known as the first part of the Constantine trilogy. We had before that, after this, we've got the second one is Lust of the Vampire, 1971. And then Twins of Evil, which I have reviewed earlier, which is one of my favourites. Again, that's from 1971. So that gives you an idea of the three films involved in this trilogy. The source material comes from Camilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. My Yorkshire accent there with a bit of French. Hey, mate. That's from 1872. And basically, what makes this interesting is the story of a lesbian vampire. Yes, controversial. Yeah, certainly at the time it was. Now we don't blink an eyelid. We don't bother to do because it's how life is, and here we are, putting it in to a horror film, and that is really good. It has been touched on before in a lot of very interesting films, particularly in the late 60s. I'm thinking of The Killing of Sister George, immediately just comes to my mind, which was brilliantly portrayed. Did have some trouble with the censors, and it's important to say that immediately this film could have faced a lot of problems with the censors, and the reason it didn't was because of the source material. It was seen as a bit of literature, popular. Also, the I didn't know this. I just found this out more recently. The X certificate was now raised to 18. I didn't realize before it was 16. Yeah. So again, that was an important change. Changes are going all on in society in the late 60s, and also in the area of films. And the sort of fringes are coming into the mainstream, and that is so important. And a company like Hammer was now realizing that they had to change as well. Still keep their gothic sort of style, maybe, but make a few changes. And the changes they did make and adapted. Unfortunately, as we know, it didn't totally work out, did it? Which is a bit sad, but there we are. Now, the cast of this film, I think, is important. I think it's a really good cast, and headed by Ingrid Pitt. She plays Marilla and Camilla character, and she's outstanding. She makes the film. She drives the film to some extent. It's a wonderful piece of acting by Ingrid Pitt. It really is, and I think everybody else responds as well. We've got Pippa Steele as Laura, Madeline Smith as Emma. We've got, of course, the ever reliable, wonderful Peter Cushing playing the general. Now, he appears sort of in the first bit of the film, then disappears, and then comes back very near the end. But it's still wonderful, whatever he does and whatever we see. Peter Cushing, fantastic. We've got George Cole playing Roger Morton. George Cole, in terms of English television, is known for Minder role. But he played a lot of other films before his television career. We've got Douglas Wilmer playing Baron Hartog, which is a key role as well. The other bit, I like my connections. Kate Mara plays the governess. The Kate Mara, to me, and to Doctor Who fans, is, of course, the Rani. Yes, a female Time Lord. Yeah, who's absolutely wonderful. She's like a kind of master kind of figure. Wonderful in Doctor Who. Anyway, I'm going off again. So, anyway, that's the cast. So, the director has this brilliant script, brilliant collection of actors, and straight away when the film begins, you get this opening scene. It's so atmospheric. You see Baron Hartog. He's narrating the story of these vampires, and you get the wonderful special effects. You get the mist, this wonderful matte paintings, and then you get the interiors, and you get the confrontation with the vampires and what they're doing, and it's a wonderful introduction to the film. And then you go, which often always used to go into the credits at the beginning of films. and the credits come. So it's already built up your expectations. Great atmospheric, and then there we are. You get the credits, and we get into the film. And again, it starts off with wonderful sets, the interiors, the exteriors, the outside shots are just amazing. Just feel the atmosphere, the dreamlike quality of the atmosphere, and on a small budget. I mean, relatively, the budget is it's small, but what they do with it, when you get some real Hollywood dull directors, and that's what they are, who have this big budget, and, well, what do they do with it? Nothing. You wouldn't notice. Whereas these brilliant filmmakers, small budgets, and produce wonderful films. And what the visual style and everything, what they do, the locations, as I say, the props, the way they're decorated, the costumes as well. I mean, it's just it really is a wonderful thing. And that was the great thing about Hammer. Why Hammer Films are perhaps the most influential filmmaking company. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it, in the history of cinema. One of them, definitely, and they're very important. And they're British, by heck, yes. And they influenced Hollywood. And they influenced lots of the mainstream, and who weren't mainstream at the time, directors. Without Hammer, some of these wonderful horror directors wouldn't have got their inspiration when they watched these films and really appreciated them. That is a wonderful compliment to this wonderful set of films that they did, and a great company. Well, the film, it's got everything there that they were looking for. You've got the erotic, lesbian eroticism. You've got some of the violence. No, I don't think it's much gore. But I think this, out of the three, is in many ways the most explicit. But yeah, it's done in such a good way. And that is all down to Ingrid Pitt. You actually... her performance is so good, you actually feel something for her as a character, which is amazing that she gets that out of somebody who's quite an evil character, but who is actually looking for love, if you want to say it, wanting love, as much as a nice pint of blood to go down with, or two, as the vampire. But this is such great acting. That's how you feel about Ingrid Pitt. She's a very attractive woman, but she adds a lot of depth, and she's really is a great character, and wonderful. I think, and we've seen it in the more of the roles that she plays, and right through her career as well. Absolutely wonderful, really is, and she really makes this film to some extent, I think, really does. I think when we look back at this film in history of Hammer, then it is an important film. It has to be seen in that context. Though, you can look and say they'd gone this far, but it was still taking time, and they did, and that was a good move. You can't just suddenly just jump into all these things. They still kept that gothic sensibility as well, but did start to branch out, as we know. The Dracula AD 1972 is such an important film in that, which is a film I have reviewed previously, and it's a great film as well, as a great breakout film for Hammer. But this, as I say, is an important film in many ways. Reflects the time that was of the late 60s and early 70s. And it's historical film in that context. It really is. But entertaining. This is so entertaining. You're not going to be disappointed. If you've never seen this film, watch it. You'll probably think, wait, there's not much going on here, is there? By heck, and they're expecting loads of this and that. But in the context of the time, it is. It's very radical. Nowadays, we may not think it's quite so radical, but I'll tell you what it is. It is the dreamlike quality and atmosphere of the whole film. That is it. And it's wonderful to watch. I don't often do this, and I don't go into the details of the story, and I'm not going to. I hope I just give you an impression that you want to watch this, and it is a good script. It's a great story, and a great film. And this is the edition I've got. There is a 2021 Blu-ray remaster which was done, which is actually quite expensive. But I'm very happy with this. The print looks excellent on here. And there's an excellent documentary as well, which talks about these things that I've talked about. And well worth watching on there. So this you can get on Amazon. It's not as expensive. You can pick it up. It's good. And that's it. So I would recommend getting this. There it is. Look. There it is. So all I've got to say is subscribe if you want to know when I do these videos. And also, if you like it, give it a like. It costs note. Yes, it actually costs note to do. You can't say fairer than that, can you? Can you? Hey, by heck. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee, and I'll see thee again.